happened in my life, and at that point in time I felt that that's one of the best things that happened in my life. I felt that was pure law of attraction and everything was wonderful with that. Cut to 1 week later, I realized it's actually not a good one but a bad news. Then I didn't understand why exactly this happened with me, and I've gone through a little low phase, and then suddenly I have Hello all, namaste, welcome to MyT Soul. I am Mounika. If you are looking at clubbing spirituality and practicality to lead a fantastic life, then this is one of those right platforms for you. I share real life spiritual, law of attraction and miraculous experiences here in this channel, and simultaneously help you experience a little bit more happiness by each passing day. So the other day something happened in my life, and at that point in time I thought it's one of the best things that ever happened. Cut to 1 week later, I realized it's not a good thing but a bad thing that happened in my life. And I was sitting and I was thinking, why did this happen to me, and why exactly, what wrong did I do to experience this and stuff like that. And exactly at that point in time I remember this particular story of a Chinese farmer, and the story goes like, there once lived a farmer in a Chinese village with a son and a horse. So one day the horse ran away, and the entire villagers came by and they said that, oh, such a sad news. And the farmer was like, well, I don't know if it's a good news or a bad news, let's see. And the other day the horse came back, but with 2 other horses, and again the villagers came by and they were like, oh, such a wonderful news. And again the farmer was like, well, again I don't know if it's a good news or a bad news, let's see. So the next day the farmer's son was training one of the new horses, and he fell off the horse, hurting his back. And again the villagers came over just to say, oh, such a terrible news that your son fell off. And again the farmer was like, I don't know if it's a good news or a bad news, let's see what future has in store for me. And the following day the Chinese army has come into the village to take all the abled children to the army. And since the farmer's son is right now injured, he was not taken to the army. And at that point in time, again the villagers came over to the farmer and said that, such a wonderful news, your son is not taken by the army. The farmer was like, well, I don't know if it's a good news or a bad news. The thing is, the story goes on and on and on. The 2 most important points that we have to understand here is, point number 1. There is nothing like good news or bad news. The moment you fix something as bad news is the moment you start vibrating negative or the non-blissful energy. And at that moment in time, you will be so vulnerable to similar negative or bad experiences. So make sure that you do not tag something as a bad experience and start generating that vibration. No, immediately switch your mind to saying that this might be a good news, we don't know, let's see. Just keep it as an open thing for the universe to decide if it's a good news or a bad news. Okay, you do not decide. Point number 2, do not take someone else's opinion or judgment about your situations. They might be telling from their experiences, but that doesn't mean that it is the truth. So always keep the things open, be it good or bad, but do not stick yourself saying it is a bad experience or a bad situation, which will eventually lead you to attract the same negative or the non-blissful experiences in your life. So now let me tell you how I have implemented the moral of the story into my life. So at that point in time, I understood that this cannot be a bad experience and I should not tag this as a bad experience. Immediately I've asked myself, what's the best thing that I can do at this point in time? So the answers flowed in. So I've started taking the path based on the inspiration, and guess what? Things started getting much better. So if you like this video, please give a big fat thumbs up and share this content with as many friends as possible, and also click that subscribe button. Thank you so much. Namaste.